Have you ever wondered why people with antisocial personality disorder often seem to have narcissistic traits? This question has puzzled psychologists and curious minds alike for years. Today, we're going to pull back the veil and unravel this intricate mystery. To understand the correlation, we first need to grasp what each of these disorders entails. Let's begin with antisocial personality disorder. This condition is characterized by a disregard for the rights of others, a lack of empathy, and a pattern of habitual rule-breaking or law-violating behavior. Individuals with this disorder often struggle to conform to social norms and may display signs of impulsivity, irritability, and aggressiveness. On the other hand, narcissism, or more formally narcissistic personality disorder, is marked by a grandiose sense of self-importance. Individuals with this disorder often have an unrealistic sense of superiority and a preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. They tend to lack empathy, are often envious of others, and have a strong need for admiration. Now you might be thinking, well, some of these characteristics sound quite similar, and you'd be right. Both disorders share a common thread, a lack of empathy. This inability to understand or share the feelings of others is a fundamental trait in both antisocial personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder. But it's more than just shared traits that link these two disorders. Research has shown that there is a significant overlap in the diagnostic criteria for antisocial personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder. This overlap, combined with the shared lack of empathy, often leads to a convergence of these disorders in the same individual, creating a complex and intriguing psychological puzzle. So why do people with antisocial personality disorder often seem to have narcissistic traits? The answer lies in the shared characteristics, overlapping diagnostic criteria, and the intricate interplay of these two disorders. Now that we have a basic understanding of both disorders, let's delve into why they often seem intertwined. We're just at the beginning of our journey to unravel this fascinating enigma. So buckle up. It's going to be a mind-bending ride. First, we will explore the traits of antisocial personality disorder. So, what is antisocial personality disorder, or ASPD for short? It's a condition characterized by a long-term pattern of disregard for or violation of the rights of others. This isn't about someone who prefers a quiet night in over a bustling social event. It's about a persistent and pervasive disregard for others' feelings and welfare. One of the key traits of ASPD is a lack of empathy. This means that people with this disorder struggle to understand or simply don't care about the emotions of others. They might seem cold or uncaring and may have difficulty forming genuine relationships. Their incapacity to empathize can also result in manipulative behavior as they prioritize their own desires and needs over others, without any hint of remorse or guilt. This brings us to another significant trait, disregard for others. This might manifest as a lack of respect for others' rights, boundaries, or personal space. People with ASPD might break laws, violate rules, or act in ways that are harmful to others without giving it a second thought. Impulsivity is another characteristic of antisocial personality disorder. This might mean making decisions on the spur of the moment without considering the consequences. It might look like recklessness or risk-taking behavior. This impulsivity isn't always about seeking thrills, though. Sometimes it's just a lack of planning or forethought. Alongside impulsivity, there's often a sense of irresponsibility. This could be demonstrated in inconsistent work behavior, failing to honor financial obligations, or neglecting family duties. For a person with ASPD, their responsibilities often take a back seat to their immediate wants and desires. It's important to note that everyone can display these traits at some point or another. We all have moments of selfishness, impatience, or irresponsibility. But for someone with antisocial personality disorder, these aren't just occasional slip-ups. They're consistent patterns of behavior that cause significant problems in their lives and the lives of those around them. These traits often lead to difficulties in relationships and societal norms. They can create a sense of isolation, misunderstanding, and conflict. But here's where things get even more complex. While these behaviors are indicative of antisocial personality disorder, they can also overlap with another personality disorder, narcissism. But how does narcissism come into play, you may wonder? Well, stay tuned as we delve deeper into the world of narcissism and see how it intertwines with antisocial personality disorder in our next segment. Now, let's shift our focus to narcissism. Narcissism, like antisocial personality disorder, is another complex personality disorder that can significantly impact a person's relationships and interactions. This disorder is characterized by a number of distinctive traits, the first of which is grandiosity. Grandiosity refers to an inflated sense of self-importance and an overestimation of one's abilities or achievements. Picture someone who constantly talks about themselves, their achievements, and their talents, often exaggerating or fabricating the truth to appear exceptional. This grandiose self-perception is not necessarily contingent on actual achievement or talent, and it's often accompanied by fantastical thinking about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Next, we delve into a rather chilling aspect of narcissism, the lack of empathy. Individuals with narcissistic tendencies often struggle to recognize or understand the feelings and needs of others. This isn't to say they can't perceive emotions in others, but rather they may not value or respect them, especially when these emotions don't align with their own interests or desires. Thirdly, we have the need for admiration. Narcissists crave constant praise and recognition from others. They tend to surround themselves with people who feed their ego, reinforcing their grandiose self-image. This need for admiration can be so intense that it borders on dependency, with the narcissist relying on others to maintain their inflated self-perception. Lastly, narcissism is characterized by a sense of entitlement. Narcissistic individuals often believe they deserve special treatment and have a right to expect others to comply with their wishes. This sense of entitlement can lead to exploitative behavior, as they may use others to achieve their own goals, without considering the impact on those around them. So how do these traits impact interpersonal relationships? Well, the grandiosity can lead to conflicts as the narcissist constantly seeks to dominate conversations and situations. Their lack of empathy can result in hurt feelings and misunderstandings, as they struggle to appreciate the perspectives and feelings of others. The need for admiration can create a one-sided dynamic, where the narcissist's needs and desires are prioritized over others. And finally, their sense of entitlement can lead to exploitative behavior, creating tension and resentment. In conclusion, narcissism, much like antisocial personality disorder, involves a complex interplay of traits that can complicate interpersonal relationships. Some of these traits, such as grandiosity, lack of empathy, and a sense of entitlement, can cause significant conflict and distress. Both disorders seem to have overlapping traits, particularly a lack of empathy. But what does this really mean? As we move forward, we'll delve deeper into this overlap, exploring the intersection of antisocial personality disorder and narcissism, and what it means for those who live with these conditions. Now, we reach the crux of the matter, the intersection of antisocial personality disorder and narcissism. This is where things get really interesting. Let's delve into the overlapping traits of these two disorders and how they can lead to a perceived connection. First, let's consider the role of empathy. It's a fundamental aspect of human interaction, allowing us to understand and share the feelings of others. It's the glue that binds our social fabric, and its absence can lead to a variety of social and interpersonal issues. In antisocial personality disorder, there's a marked lack of empathy. This is seen in the inability to understand the feelings of others and the disregard for their rights. It's as if the sufferer is playing a one-person game where the feelings and rights of others simply don't come into play. Narcissism, on the other hand, exhibits a similar lack of empathy, but for different reasons. Here, the individual is so engrossed in their own world, so fixated on their own needs and desires, that the feelings and rights of others are overshadowed. In a sense, it's not that they can't understand others' feelings, but rather that they choose not to. This shared absence of empathy can lead to similar behaviors in both disorders. For instance, both may display a sense of entitlement, manipulation, and a lack of remorse. Hence, from an external perspective, it's easy to see why one might perceive a connection between the two. Moreover, the pursuit of power and control is another overlapping trait. Individuals with antisocial personality disorder often manipulate and deceive others to gain control. Similarly, narcissists also seek power, but they do so to feed their inflated sense of self-worth. Now, it's important to note that while these traits overlap, they stem from different root causes. In antisocial personality disorder, the lack of empathy and pursuit of control often stem from a deep-seated disregard for societal norms and the rights of others. In narcissism, these behaviors are driven by a need for admiration and a sense of superiority. In essence, what we're seeing is two different paths leading to a similar destination. Both disorders display a lack of empathy and a pursuit of control, but the motivations behind these behaviors are distinct. This is why, despite the similarities, these are two separate disorders, each with its own unique set of symptoms and treatment approaches. However, it's this overlap in behaviors that can lead to a perceived connection between antisocial personality disorder and narcissism. It's a fascinating area of study, and researchers continue to explore the complexities of these disorders to better understand their similarities and differences. So, while these disorders are distinct, their overlapping traits can lead to a perceived connection. This intersection not only deepens our understanding of these disorders, but also highlights the complexities of human behavior and the mind's intricate workings. But what does this connection mean for individuals with these disorders and their relationships? It's crucial to understand that antisocial personality disorder and narcissism, despite their overlap, can have profound impacts on personal and interpersonal relationships. The traits of these disorders can create a complex web of challenges, both for those who have them and for those who are in a relationship with them. Picture this. A person with antisocial personality disorder may struggle with empathy, making it difficult for them to relate to the feelings and experiences of others. They may seem indifferent or dismissive of others' needs or concerns. Combine this with traits of narcissism, like a sense of entitlement or a lack of regard for others' feelings, and you have a cocktail of behaviors that can strain relationships to the breaking point. These traits can manifest in various ways. For instance, someone with these disorders may have a difficult time recognizing when they've hurt someone else, or they might struggle to apologize sincerely. They might also have a tendency to manipulate others for their own gain, or to perceive slights where none exist. However, it's important to note that having antisocial personality disorder or narcissistic traits does not doom one to a life of failed relationships. Individuals with these disorders can work towards managing their symptoms. This often involves therapy, where they can learn strategies to improve their empathy and interpersonal skills. They can also learn to recognize and manage their narcissistic tendencies, helping them to foster healthier relationships. For those in a relationship with someone who has these disorders, understanding and patience are key. It can be challenging to navigate these waters, but with the right support and resources, it is possible. The journey towards managing these disorders is not an easy one, but it is one that can lead to healthier, more satisfying relationships. It's not about curing the disorder, but about learning to manage it and learning to live with it in a way that allows for growth and connection. Understanding these disorders can help us empathize with those who struggle with them and help them navigate their relationships more effectively. Let's take a moment to summarize what we've learned today. We began our journey by unraveling the mystery, peeling back the layers of antisocial personality disorder. It's a condition often characterized by disregard for others' rights, impulsivity, deceitfulness, and a lack of remorse for one's actions. Then we shifted our focus to narcissism, a term that's become part of our everyday vernacular. But beyond the common usage, it's a complex trait often associated with an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. As we delved deeper, we discovered the fascinating intersection of antisocial personality disorder and narcissism. It's not uncommon for individuals with antisocial personality disorder to exhibit narcissistic traits. This overlap can manifest as manipulative behavior, lack of empathy, and a heightened sense of self-importance. It's important to note, however, that while there is overlap, these two disorders are distinct. Not all individuals with antisocial personality disorder will exhibit narcissistic traits, and not all narcissists will display antisocial behaviors. We also explored the impact these disorders can have on relationships. Both antisocial personality disorder and narcissism can lead to strained relationships, often due to the individual's difficulties with empathy and understanding the needs and feelings of others. This can result in one-sided relationships, where the person with the disorder is primarily focused on their own needs and desires. While these disorders can create challenges, understanding them is the first step towards fostering greater empathy and support. By being aware of these conditions, we can better understand the behaviors of those who struggle with them. We can use this knowledge to approach them with compassion, patience, and the necessary support. While the connection between antisocial personality disorder and narcissism can seem complex, understanding these disorders can lead to greater empathy and support for those who struggle with them.